Gems. I am Janita Pascal, your inspirational mindset shifter, and the founder and managing director of G.P.A Inc., where we inspire intellectual innovation. Today, I'm happy that you are able to join us here as my guest, Kenny, who is a singer, songwriter, and producer. Take you behind the wind, where we go beyond his cover story. Behind the win are experiences and or challenges we all encounter. Those dreams and visions that we set out to achieve can be greeted by many stumbling blocks which often leave us questioning why. Often, they allow us to go back to the drawing board to determine where should we turn next and how should we take those next steps. But nobody knows because truly all they ever get to see is that cover story. That cover story that leaves others questioning, why can't I get there too? Here, we speak to authors, doctors, lawyers, professional coaches, entrepreneurs, your everyday people, and many more as they inspire you by sharing with you the experiences and or challenges they encountered before basking in their reading season. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining us here as my guest today joins us to share on how he was able to navigate life after losing his wife.
Mm.
So, hi, Kenny.
Hello, how
Welcome
are
to
you?
this welcome, Kenny.
Yes, thank you for having me, Miss Pascal. Appreciate you getting me on. Such a pleasure. Thank you so much for getting me here.
You're welcome. And Kenny, we just like to start off on the lighter side. So, if I were going along my merry way and I happen to get stuck in an elevator with you and we happen to introduce ourselves to each
Mm.
other, who would you tell me Kenny is and what is he best known for?
I would probably more than likely be as humble as I can. I will probably not tell you anything other than I'm a dad. I love music, and that's it. So I won't get into too many what I do's and to look up this and look up that. More than likely, I'm just gonna be a cool dude, making sure you're okay. That's all. That's all.
Nice,
Yeah,
humble selves.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can you just, as we start off, one thing
Mhm.
I know about my own journey with cancer, my experience with cancer as a child, is that life can be so unpredictable. And in
Mhm.
as much as we make so many plans and we attempt to prepare for the unknown,
Mhm.
there are still certain aspects of life that we are not totally able to control.
Right.
So, given your experience with the loss of your wife, what did navigating a new life look like for you?
Oh, certainly difficult. I can tell you why is because the dating scene on this side is a little different. So navigating from being in a relationship for 21 years and then navigating it without her being here was a little challenging. Um, uh, it's not as easy out here as one would think. And to navigating and then finding quality people can sometimes be difficult. And I'm a cool guy, other than the Kenny J persona, other than the music, other than the artistry. You don't want anyone to replace anyone, but nowadays you mature. You've been through a tremendous amount of things, trial and error. Is the quality of person that you were 20 years ago should be different at this point. And nowadays, um, you should at some point, if you mature, can get to a point where you can navigate life now mature. So some of the decisions that you made 20, 30 years ago is not going to be what you make now. You have responsibility, you have children that's kind of looking at you to see how you're navigating through it. And you have to stand strong, you have to be a better person, you have to use the the trauma or the issue or what's not there as a catapult to move you on. You can't hold on to grudges, you can't be mad, you can't be this. So it's just so many different variables that you have to be. But one thing you cannot do, you can't stop. You cannot give up. You cannot just say, I'm just going to take this and it's just going to be something that's going to kind of be on my shoulders 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have to find a common ground of balance to progress. So that's in a nutshell been what it was, what it is.
All right, and you spoke about just keeping staying resilient for that
Hmm.
matter, and
Yeah.
not stopping and not quitting.
Hmm.
I know that so many of us, when those life challenges take center stage, we tend to put our goals on the back burner, not
Hmm.
moving forward to achieve or accomplish those goals that we set out. What
Hmm.
did goal setting and goal manifestation look like for you in that moment?
Well, those moments, this music is certainly been, my piece. So I couldn't stop that one thing that I could use to bring me that peace. You know what I mean? The goals that I set in music or in just in life continue to progress. It's just a little bump in the road. You still have to go forward and do it, do what it is that you believe you need to do. You cannot stop. I'm always in that mindset that come what may, regardless of what it is, you cannot stop. Everything that we go through in our life is should use we should use as some sort of fuel to move us to our next destination or our future. And sometimes, not to bring harm to the thought, it's just sometimes people will get in their heads and they'll become the trauma, they'll become the issue, and that's not a way to get to your next. That's not a way to progress. you know no one can tell you how to mourn, no one can tell you how to think. But for me, I think the healthy thought for me is to just think about those things, set your goals, still do them, be resilient. Life, I say this sometime in my podcast, life doesn't care about anything. you know, Life is going to present itself life, and it's up to us to decide how that's going to be, how that's going to look. And if we allow life to take us down, take us under, you'll never get to, even the things that you plan. So for me, it was, let's figure out how we can still rebound. I'm still going to go through the process of mourning and all of that sort of stuff, but to get to where I want to be in life, I can't allow this to take me out. I'll just use it as fuel to get me through life.
Yeah, I like that earlier you spoke about your music, turning to
Hmm.
your music and how
Hmm.
that brought you peace. Because
Hmm.
from my own experience, when I feel like I am down, when I feel like I'm being challenged, I that's the first thing I go to. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's the same for everybody else, but
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
but I turn to music.
Yeah, music for me is the creation of it, it's the writing of it, it's the processing of it, it's just the creation of the whole thing from soups to nuts. Some people may be gifted at writing, some may be gifted at just having a conversation, some may be gifted at cooking, some may be gifted at designing. Whatever it is that you're gifted at, those things are a part of you to bring you peace. Not only money. What will you do if you didn't have the money? Will you still do what you're gifted to do? And most times people should say, yeah, I'll probably still do it. I do it for the fun of it and because it brings me peace. For me, the music was that thing. It's still, since 5 years old, that was the thing that brought me peace. Whether I was listening to my favorite song or whether I was kind of creating some sort of masterpiece in my mind, it's always brought me peace.
Right.
Yeah.
And even as we turn to music, and you mentioned cooking and just
Hmm.
anything, for some of us, it can look like gardening. We
Absolutely.
also need to tap into those support systems and those
Hmm.
family members, those friends. And I know that finding support systems, sorry, and different outlets can help us to shift the focus
Hmm.
in the challenge and any challenge that we may encounter. Many
Hmm.
respond differently, and
Hmm.
some can sometimes become very overwhelmed. As
Hmm.
sometimes you're going through something and you want to self isolate,
Hmm.
and so many individuals gather around you and surround you with love, but sometimes you're responding to that in a different way.
Right.
What was your approach like to those visits, the warmth and support of individuals in that time? Are you like me, someone who isolate, or did you embrace the warmth and the love and the support?
Yeah, I'm laughing because the question is very, very, very creative. Because, some people may say, "Well, we want to be around." Not
Yeah,
me. I'm an introvert. I would say that, and people don't say it's an introvert, but I don't have a problem being by myself. And
right.
sometimes processing by yourself makes the process easier to cope with. For me, during that process, I did not want anybody around. I didn't
Right.
want anybody, and it wasn't that I wouldn't want anybody to see me, in that place. I can process and get through that a lot easier when I have a relationship with God, and I will say that, all the time. My confidant, that one that guides me and guides my peace. I operate in my gift through the peace of God, and sometimes that peace of God surpasses all understanding. People won't ever understand what that is, but when you develop that relationship, for me, I wanted to sit on my couch. If I didn't turn the TV on, that was cool. I'll have my pad, my pen there, and I will just sit there and process through it. Some people, I had a. I'll tell this quick story. I have a bar in my house, right? I have a bar in my house. So, and sometimes people will go to that to find peace, and I'm grateful to God because He kind of put me in such of a pace of peace where I wanted to just pour out the liquor. I didn't want any liquor. I didn't want anything that was going to kind of hinder the process, because for me, once the alcohol fades away, you're still going to have to process through the process. You still got to process through it. And sometimes, and for me, that process was easy. By the grace of God, I was able to process through it, and drinking wasn't even an option. Not that I had a problem with it, but sometimes people find those things as a coping mechanism to get through it. Now, my coping mechanism was to be quiet and to kind of hear from what He had to download in my spirit. And once God does some things in you like that, it can never be replaced. Like that, surpass all understand. It will surpass the people's understanding. They will not understand how it happened that way, but because of that peace of God that I have in my heart, that's all that mattered. I didn't care who didn't understand it. I didn't care who didn't want to. I didn't care who was ringing the doorbell and I didn't respond. I didn't care about any of that. That spot for me, that place for me, was something that I needed, and once He does it, it can't be undone.
I just like that you went there. I just thought
Yeah.
you were telling my testimony for me. I was like, why is he copying and pasting my testimony?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And it translates in your music because I went out to listen and to
Hmm.
hear your music. And speaking about your musical career,
Yeah.
can you just share with the audience a little more about the genre of music, what platforms your
Hmm.
music would be streaming on, and
Yeah.
maybe you can give it a little sample?
Yeah, my music is positive music. My music speaks to the essence of a woman. It speaks to it speaks to the essence of a woman in her beautiful state, where you can see her shine and you can see her empowered. You can see her in that positive essence. I'm not an artist that enjoys, or I don't write music that's degrading. I don't like to see women sprawled across the front of the car half naked. I don't like that necessarily. I don't think that that is a positive image to give our young people. I don't think it's a positive image that I want my daughter to see. I don't want that as, being some sort of image that my son can look at and grovel over. I don't think that. I think women needs to be respected. Artists sometimes in this day, for lack of a better word, they say there's sometimes through their artistry can be disrespectful to them, and I'm just not about that. So my music that I write is going to empower, it's going to uplift, it's going to shed light. It's not just going to speak about women, it's going to speak about being loved. It's going to speak about race and how we're supposed to come together and love each other. And it's going to talk about positive things. Now, do I have some songs that talk about love and intimacy respectfully? Yes, it will. It's going to talk about um, 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 respecting your heart, and it's going to talk about love. It's going to talk about, how when you're dating a woman, you're supposed to take her out and have a sweet summer day. It's going to talk about empowering women, all of that sort of stuff. So all of my music, if you want to, I don't even want to give them a taste. I'm going to tell you to go check it out. I want you to
Well, I've
listen.
checked it out myself, yes. And
Listen.
it's really good, guys. It's really good.
Yes, yes. So all of the streaming platforms have everything that I've done. "Love Is All We Need" is a song that I wrote last year. It talks about um, just the world and how the worldview is. They misinterpret what the word love is, and I wanted to bring the word love in its purest form back in the forefront. So I didn't care your race. I didn't care your financial status. I didn't care your sexual preference. I didn't care about any of that. All it was just kind of through my music, through the essence of God that's on the inside of me, to just put that out through the world. Second song was "You're a Woman." "You're a Woman" was dropped on International Women's Day, March 8th. Didn't know I was going to do the song. somebody else was going to sing it. I end up singing it and performing it, and that was one of the staple songs that I have in the catalog. You're a Woman. It just honors women. It just honors women. It empowers them. I always say in my interviews that you guys bring human onto the earth, onto the world, and for me, that's no greater thing to me. That right there is a wonderful thing, and I wanted to honor you and all the support that you ladies give us men. Just be clear and honest. Most of the great successes of all of the individuals, men wise, that's on the earth is probably because there's a strong woman behind him. And I wanted to put that on platform. And July 10th, I dropped an EP called Back to Rhythm and Love, Volume 1. It is just a bunch of songs that kind of honor women, honor love, and the respectful relationship. So that's basically what it
Nice. So
yeah.
if I wanted you to write me a song, how can
Mhm.
I reach you?
Mhm.
How can I connect with you?
Yeah, you can reach me on my website. That's Kenny J Music. You can reach me on Instagram, Kenny Wilkins. You can reach me on Facebook, Kenny J Wilkins. And I did start a TikTok, which you can do, Kenny J Wilkins, the number 7. And I just started a podcast called Real Talk, Real Thought. And both of those taglines are either on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. And you can go there and get them. Just hear what I'm talking about.
The music is really good, so
Mhm.
the podcast should be remarkable, amazing.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So we know you're busy, you're writing, you're
Yeah.
creating, you're singing.
Hmm.
So before you leave us,
Hmm.
I know that many individuals across the globe are impacted by loss, whether that would be a loved one, a friend, a
Hmm.
family member. Before you go, are there any last words that you can share with those who are experiencing grief
Yeah.
and perhaps they don't know how to navigate?
Yeah, navigate through them. This is the advice that I would give them. Never let anybody dictate you need to mourn or deal with loss. That is a process that you have to take yourself. Continue the process through 'em. If you go through the process, trust me, you can rebound. Do not have negative around you. I don't care if it's your closest friend. Mm-mm. Do not have them around you. Stay positive, stay loved, and you'll get through it. Yep,
Stay positive and stay loved. Guys, I
that's
really
right.
want to thank you for joining us here today. And I don't know for you guys, but my key takeaway here, Kenny referenced God and music a lot. And sometimes you
Excellent.
have to find your peace, you have to find your core and solid foundation. And well, I think he was just a reflection of, of myself because that is my go-to. So find your go-to
That's right.
and find your source of peace as you
Mhm.
navigate those life's challenges.
Absolutely.
Thank you again so much for joining
Ah,
us here today.
thank you, Miss Pascal. I appreciate you. Thank you for getting me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.